Welcome to the Dreamlands, and we are kicking off a brand new series of Faction Wars videos. This series I'll put in its very own playlist under the Deserts of Kharak section, so they will be easily found. We are going to go through every faction versus every faction. The format is going to be 3v3, and each matchup is going to be a best of 3. At the very end of the series, we will determine the winner by how many games won. So even if it's a 3-0, it will be a 3-0 for a matchup. And let's kick things off, guys. We're going to be starting with a Soban versus Gaalsien. So several years after the Kapisi secured the Kartoba site, a very, very large Gaalsien fleet was spotted by recon en route to the Kartoba site, so the Soban forces have been dispatched in force to intercept the fleet, and they have intercepted them at Kalash Valley. So let's get our bearings here, and we will introduce our commanders. So we are going to have Team 2 spawning on, or I should say the Soban fleet spawning on the north side of the map. And let me just check it out here. So the commanders for the Soban fleet, first up on left-hand spawn, we are going to have Joran commanding his very own carrier. Very cool thing about this, we're going to do kind of like lore-friendly games. So everybody is going to have standard colors for their fleet, which is going to make things awesome. So first up, Commander Joran Soban, taking up the right spawn location. Taking up the middle spawn location, we are going to have Commander Kitsune Soban. And taking up the left spawn location, we are going to have Commander Maze Soban. Pretty fearsome fleet dispatched to intercept the Gaalsien raiding fleet, spawning on the south side as Team Gaalsien. They didn't do the colors. Oh well, that's fine. Let me just check who we've got here. Alright, so taking up the left-hand spawn, we are going to have Sarum. I do believe this player is making their debut on the channel for the Faction Wars, so I would like to welcome them to the channel. Taking up the middle spawn, I believe this is Commander Rampa Frolic, an old-school Gaalsien player. I think they might have been on the channel a long, long time ago, but it hasn't been for quite some time. So welcome them back to the deserts. And taking up the right spawn for Team Gaalsien, it is going to be Commander Catharsis. So, some pretty damn solid teams. I'm very excited. I've been trying to get this going for a while. And it looks like, what have we got for builds? We have got Joran with Support Cruiser first for the economic build, as well Maze with Support Cruiser first. Both players saturating their main and saturating their first wreck bulkhead. Kitsune alternatively is going to go for some very early LAVs with 7 of them on the field, long-hauling resources from both of his expansions, so that's pretty cool. Kitsune also grabbing an artifact and looking to take it back to the safety of the fleet. Meanwhile, Team Gaalsien, we have got Rampa Frolic and Catharsis both grabbing early artifacts. What have we got for opening builds? We do have a number of sand skimmers moving out onto the map, a couple of scanners down from forward base runners, just getting some scouting information, very early assault ships from Sarum, so nice build there. Looks like Sarum is probably going to have production cruiser refinery mode shortly. All Gaalsien players have saturated their main and are currently long-hauling from their first wreck bulkhead. We do have early assault railguns from Rampa Frolic, and it looks like Catharsis went for an economic opener with production cruiser refinery mode first. Did one of those Gaalsien base runners get taken down? I think that it did. I do apologize for missing that, but I think that was Rampa Frolic's base runner went down. And lost the artifact with some very nice aggression coming out from Kitsune with a massive number of LAVs. Maze supporting with a couple of LAVs as well. They're going to run into a few assault ships. That's something they don't want to see. Going to get pushed off, not losing a single unit though. That's pretty impressive. Going to protect Rampa. Oh no, this is Rampa Frolic, so that must have been Catharsis. So Catharsis lost his base runner carrying the first artifact of the game. Artifacts are set to 7 for this particular matchup. And it looks like we're going to have a number of assault ships with already an early armor upgrade from Sarum, so some pretty nice play here. We're going to force these LAVs off and try and escort the base runner into the extraction zone. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we already have a big push of LAVs coming out. We've got some LAVs from Joran. 4 of them, 2 of them going to swing wide up onto the cliff here by the looks of it, and 2 of them going to push forward. More and more LAVs streaming out onto the map from both Maze and Kitsune. And we do have as well some AAVs backing them up from Kitsune. Looks like the first artifact of the game is going to get dunked by Team Gaalsien with a beautiful escort from these assault ships. Do you have any we have 1 armor upgrade for the LAVs for Maze. No upgrades for Kitsune. Big force of LAVs though, going to try and get behind enemy lines and get backed up with these AAVs. Gonna have to keep an eye on that backstab. Looks like the path has been cleared for Kitsune, going to try and dump an artifact and tie it up for a 1-1. Meanwhile, we do have a number of assault railguns now on the field, getting backed up by sand skimmers for Rampa Frolic. Looks like everybody has got their refinery mode up and running, and all players on Team Gaalsien are sitting at 2 resource locations. Kitsune, this is a cool move, got that support cruiser on the field and has the forward carrier halfway in between 2 wreck bulkheads and is long hauling still from both of those. We do have railguns on the field for Maze as well now, so pretty much all players on LAV, AAV, railgun for Team Soban. Meanwhile, Team Gaalsien, Maze, or Serum, pardon me, sticking with mass assault ship, 8 assault ships, good grief, with that armor upgrade. And still skimmers and assault railguns for Rampa Frolic. Oh goodness, look at this build from Rampa Frolic. He has got double production cruisers on the field, mining from 2 locations and bringing his carrier up to try and lock down mid. We do already have 6 units of power on that carrier, so that thing could be pretty problematic in the early game for Team Soban if they're not careful. Big push coming in on the back of that carrier push through mid from Rampa Frolic. Assault railguns and skimmers going to push this giant blob back. They don't want anything to do with this, especially backed up as it is by the Gaalsien carrier. Maze looking to get a little bit of a backstab going on the east side of the map by the looks of it, while Serum's forces are out of position through mid here. As well, Joran with a backstab coming along the west side of the map, trying to get those skimmers behind enemy lines. That may cause a big problem. Oh, yeah, here is a backstab from the AAVs. A little bit of smoke to cover the retreat. They were seen off by some assault railguns from Catharsis. However, Catharsis is in a lot of trouble. He has got LAVs behind his lines. Going to try and pick off a production cruiser. It's going to be pretty damn close. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, May is going to try and go for a production cruiser snipe as well on Serum. That one is definitely going to go down. Serum in a lot of trouble here. Both Serum and Catharsis lose a production cruiser. That is pretty nasty. Serum going to have to divert all of his forces back, but his force consists entirely of assault ships at the moment, so he is sorely out of position and taking a beating right now. What have we got coming through mid? A big push from Rampa Frolic with all of these assault railguns backed up by a heavy railgun popping shots off. But it looks like this is going to be held pretty easily by Joran, now taking his 3rd with a number of railguns on the field, getting backed up by Kitsune's railguns. Rampa Frolic is in a bit of trouble here. He is going to be losing some forces, and his carrier going to be forced into a full retreat. Kitsune all the way back now, or I mean Serum. I do apologize. I don't know why I'm confusing both of those players. Serum did lose a production cruiser, almost lost a second, but made it back in time to save that 2nd production cruiser. So 2 production cruisers down. Meanwhile, those AAVs come in for some more harassment, cleaning up some salvagers, forcing the rest back, and using the smoke again to cover their retreat. Very, very nice play from Joran, keeping Catharsis off balance. And it looks like Team Soban has locked down mid now. 2 carriers, a massive number of railguns, backed up by a couple LAVs and a couple AAVs. Gonna lock down mid as that ALM fence creeps forward. This base runner is getting shut down. Who is this? Rampa Frolic grabs a 2nd artifact, but that thing almost gets sniped, gets shut down. We do have interceptors in the sky now for Serum. Look at this, though. May's carrier going to try and camp the high ground, backed up by a ton of railguns and a missile battery. That's going to force those interceptors off, and these assault ships should not push into this. They are just going to get taken down completely. Oh man, Sarum is in a ton of trouble. Pretty much lost his entire army, lost a great portion of his econ, and even has his tech shut down. Big flank coming out, I suspect, from Rompafrolic, even going to clean up a number of these railguns. Team Gaalsien in a lot of trouble. Still leading in terms of artifacts, 1-0. Sejuk's legacy will not be claimed this day by the heretics. However, the Gaalsien may pay for this with the loss of their forces and be forced into retreat. Can they turn this game around? Currently, Team Soban is in a very dominant position. May's camping the high ground with LAV's railguns and missile batteries, while both Joran and Kitsune camp the center, and their push is unopposed currently. There's not much Gaalsien can do to dislodge this. So that must have been Kitsune's base runner finally delivering an artifact. Indeed, that one that he has been holding on to for the entire game, by the looks of it. And the Gaalsien fleet is currently boxed in by the overwhelming firepower of the Soban forces. Catharsis' line of heavy railguns getting pushed now. But there is an honor guard cruiser on the field. Oh, it gets sniped. Some air support coming in from these interceptors. Going to clean up a few of Kitsune's railguns as well. No AA on the side, on this side of the field, so that's going to be a weakness that Sarum wants to exploit. Another honor guard cruiser on the field now for Catharsis. So Team Gaalsien is not going to relinquish this position without a major fight, but we have a giant push coming through mid. Both carriers spearheading the charge, forcing Rompafrolic's forces all the way back, and the ALM lands dead center of all of these railguns. Oh, 2 ALMs now. Brutal push. Kitsune and Joran pushing directly through mid. They want to take the fight directly to the Gaalsien. Meanwhile, Maze swings around and closes the jaws through the western high ground pass. Tied up at 1-1, Catharsis has dug in and has massive railguns, a couple of screening sand skimmers, as well as that one honor guard cruiser, which is going to be a pretty tough nut to crack for Team Soban. They are getting outflanked. Rompafrolic's carrier almost goes down. His forces have been dismantled and destroyed. However, he is holding on with Catharsis moving in from the flank to support. Another honor guard cruiser, more heavy railguns, going to support this flanking maneuver, and it looks like Team Soban is going to finally get pushed off. Their forces suffering devastating casualties. Finally, some AA on the field coming through mid from Joran now, and it looks like Sarum has gotten an absolute beating from Maze on the high ground, unable to dislodge, and it looks like the railguns are pouring their fire onto the carrier. This carrier is in big trouble. Some scouting LAV is going to try and get line of sight for those rails. We do have a battle cruiser on the field for Kitsune. Very nice. Going to pop that smoke to keep it alive in mid. The Soban force, though, pushing through mid was dismantled and nearly destroyed. But they do hold the high ground with overwhelming numbers. Look at this army from Maze coming across the western high ground position. Ugh, Rompafrolic and Sarum's carriers are both in desperate position here. Team Gaalsien has been corralled back into the center rear position of the map, all the way at the southern edge. They are trying desperately to hold on. Catharsis is keeping them in this game, though, with all of those honor guard cruisers and massive numbers of heavy railguns. Oh, look at all of these railguns from Maze just pouring their fire into Rompafrolic's carrier. He needs to get this thing the hell out of there. Team Gaalsien tenaciously holding on. They have artillery. Artillery, if Sarum had some siege cruisers on the field, that would be a pretty nice thing here. Unfortunately, I don't think that Sarum's economy allowed him to tech to artillery, and if he has not had the resources to build any. Desperately trying to keep building assault ships to hold this LAV spam at bay, but backed up as it is by this number of Soban railguns, that is going to get cleaned up almost immediately. Kitsune swinging wide to support Maze on the western side of the map. More and more battle cruisers onto the field. However, Joran has been forced into retreat. Did Joran die? Oh god. No, he did not. Okay, good. I was hoping I didn't miss that. So Maze taking up the rear while Joran and Kitsune push once again, consolidating their position along the western edge of the map, that high ground spot, which is ultimately important, and all three carriers together. However, look at this force from Catharsis. This is an impressive force indeed. So Rapafrolic's carrier does go down. Systems critical forced into retreat. Joran flees, or Rapafrolic flees the battlefield. And it looks like pretty much all of their economy is cleaned up. For all intents and purposes, Joran has been forced from the battlefield into retreat. And it looks like Sarum likewise is going to be forced into retreat. Their entire force has been cleaned up, their economy is gone, their military is destroyed, and all we've got now is a giant force. Oh god, the Honor Guard cruiser shots. Oh, beautiful. Oh, this is why you don't want LAVs to charge headlong into a couple Honor Guard cruisers. They are going to get absolutely smashed. The push is unopposed though by Team Gaalsien. They have cleaned up pretty much the entire economy of Team Soban, pardon me. They have cleaned up the entire economy of Team Gaalsien with this massive spam of light vehicles. They clean up all of this and it is just a matter of time. Oh, a couple of money Honor Guard cruiser shots could clean this up entirely. Oh. Man, those armor upgrades make a huge difference too. Holy smokes.
Armored vehicle taking effective fire. Enemy sighted. Salvager taking hostile fire.
Move up, be on alert.
Tracking hostile. Armored vehicle destroyed.
So the might of the Soban fleet intercepted the Gaalsien en route to the Kartoba and forced them into a full retreat. Their armies devastated, their carriers badly damaged, their fleet in disarray.
LAV destroyed.
The power of the Soban.
Enemy contact on sensor.
Get us underway.
Will they be able to steer the Kartoba site on the back of this victory though? That is the crucial engagement to be certain. Looks like we have got a microwave emitter. Oh, right onto the Econ, which didn't do that much since all of those units were moved out of the way, but we do have a missile barrage coming out from Catharsis, gonna force all of these units out of position and do a pretty decent amount of damage at that. However, Joran is just, oh, this is Maze. Maze is just gonna push in here. Oh god, but his forces are going to get absolutely wrecked. That was a bad push. Is Maze carrier going to go down right now? It probably is going to, I imagine. I think they should focus on the carrier and let the Gaalsien carrier kill these ALMs instead of wasting the railgun fire on those ALMs. Maze is going to get away. That's unbelievable. In my opinion, that's a little miss micro from Catharsis there. Could have killed this carrier pretty easily, in my opinion. Oh, we have another nuke coming out. Microwave emitter from... Where's it coming from? Oof. All the way across the map over there. Misses entirely, pretty much. Catharsis still holding on, man. This is some really good play from him. Sarum is still in the game as well. Do we have artillery? Artillery would be very, very nice right now. Oh, another microwave emitter even. Oh, forces the split. That was a beautiful spot for the microwave emitter. If it came a little bit earlier, it actually would have forced these units directly into the previous one. A couple of battle cruisers here and some ALMs going to shut down these railguns. There's no way they can take this fight. Oh, another missile barrage. Oh, what a beautiful fight. We got to check this out in cinematic glory here. Look at this, 6 battle cruisers. Another artifact was delivered, a second artifact for Team Soban, so they are in the lead in terms of artifacts, and they've pretty much won the game at this point.
Fire.
Oof.
Enemy sand skimmer on approach. Redeploying to mark.
We do still have a single honor guard cruiser on the field. Big shot into those
Battlecruiser identified on
Soban battle cruisers, but this is just way too many battle cruisers spearheading the push, backed up by 3 Soban carriers. Full power into railguns, and down goes the final carrier. Critical damage, the entire Gaalsien fleet forced into retreat. So victory goes to the Soban fleet in game 1 of this 3-part series. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoy my content, and I will see you for game 2 coming up next.